What's up, everybody? This Eve coming to y'all with another episode of Hit the Sled. Man, I truly appreciate y'all tuning in. But before we get started on this episode right here, I'm asking you to subscribe to my YouTube channel, Hit the Sled. But not only subscribe to the channel, hit the like buttons as well. That will greatly help the podcast as it keeps going as I keep building upon building. I truly appreciate everybody that's checking me out, man. Pass the word around, hit the sled. Not only do I have a YouTube channel, but also I'm on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram as well. So follow me on those outlets. I'm coming, hit the sled. Got more and more stuff coming down the line. Stay with me. But on this episode of Hit the Sled, this is my reaction to week 9 of the college football season. And this week, we got to start like we usually start this week, and we got to start with the Colorado Buffaloes. Unfortunately, Coach Prime and the Buffs, they went to UCLA, and they ended up losing 28-16. This was a tough one again. Now they have lost 2 in a row. They lost to Stanford, coming off their bye week, and this loss right here, to me, in my opinion, it shows that they clearly have a long way to go. They came off their bye week. They did some good things, but they clearly have some stuff they gotta still continue to work out. Coach Prime and his coaches, they got some stuff they still gotta work out. A couple of the defense forced turnovers. Without those 4 turnovers, UCLA would have scored more than 28 points. On all the turnovers, UCLA was driving. They were great plays. There were no flukes. Travis Hunter got two picks, and they were great plays. Shiloh forced a fumble on a great hit on the UCLA running back. And, they did a good job creating those 4 turnovers, because offensively, they other than the first 2 possessions in the beginning of the game, UCLA's front dominated. One of the good things that happened, though, was Shedeur. Man, I'm trying to tell you, Shedeur, hey, he is something special, man. He really is. And I'm not talking about his physical ability. I'm talking about his toughness, his fight. The show, he's clearly, man, he's a tough young man. He went 27 for 43, only 217 yards, but all those yards were high 4 yards because the UCLA defense played extremely well. And we can't go no further, man, than just say, man, you got to give your flowers out to Shedeur, man, because the heart he showed, the determination, the toughness. He really did show me something, man, and he continues to show that. He's been showing that all season. For me, coming out of Jackson State, one of the things I used to tell a lot of my friends were, hey, I know he's leaving 1AA. I want to see how he responds when he plays top-notch competition. He's going to be playing the Oregons of the world. He's going to be playing the UCLAs of the world. He's going to be playing the USCs of the world. He's going to get hit. He's going to keep getting hit, and I want to see how he responds. And, man, is he responding? They're clearly showing, he's clearly showing that he has the mental toughness. He has the competitiveness in him. He has the fight. And as a former offensive lineman sitting here watching it, I would want to block for Shedeur, man. And it would hurt me every time if I have to give him my hand to raise him off the ground. That would hurt me. Because clearly, if we can give him time as an offensive line, we got a great chance of winning. So, and I'm gonna get to the offensive line. That's something that is gonna be talked about. The other good thing that happened, Travis Hunter, he really, really played well as well. He redeemed himself for coming back after that long layoff from the Colorado State game. He had a bad game against Stanford. He got beat for the game-winning touchdown, and he made amends for it, man. He played really well. Had 2 sensational interceptions. You can clearly see Travis, man. Travis is a special talent. He really is. He's a special talent. He's one of those young men. He's going to be playing a lot of years in the pros, man. He's going to be playing long time in the pros, man. So he played very well, man. Very, very, very well, man. Unfortunately, that was kind of the good. The bad, some of the same issues. Offensive line, coverage, no adjustments, coverage issues by the secondary and the pass defense, no adjustments by the OC. They started off the game trying to make adjustments, getting the ball out Shador hand early. But after the first two series, UCLA kind of shut that down. UCLA took that away. And once UCLA took that away and forced Shador to hold the ball, the front was getting there. And the offensive line is just not good enough. I'm sorry. They not good enough. Those young people, those young men, credit to them. They trying their best. They trying, but they not good enough. They're not good enough. I'm sorry. They just not. Coach Prime got a lot of decisions he got to make, and we're going to get to that later. He's going to have to replace that entire offensive line. Maybe one or two, maybe about two, but the center guard, they're going to have to be replaced. They're not good enough. The tackles, they're backups. They shouldn't be playing. They're not good enough. Coverage-wise, they did fix in the defensive side. They did fix some of their issues as far as coverage-wise. A couple things that's been killing them for the past 5 or 6 weeks was the drag route over the middle. They could not cover that to save their life. Crossing routes, any type of crossing route, any type of crossing routes, multiple crossing routes, they will bust the coverage. And UCLA attempted to run those schemes several times, but they were able. I don't believe they completed a ball off a crossing route all day. However, other issues kept popping up. They were missing eyes, were in the wrong place. They were blowing coverages as far as like running backs, simple flare routes, running backs out of the backfield. On one of the touchdowns by UCLA, someone didn't cover the running back in the flat, gave up an easy 6. They're still having bust coverage issues in the back end. It's one of those things where it's been going on a long time, and they shouldn't be having these issues. They really should not be having these issues. It's a problem. And if I'm the DB coach, I'll be real nervous. Or whoever's the pass defensive coordinator, I would get real nervous because they're blowing coverages left and right. Their run defense was not bad. Their defensive line played very good. Dominic, number 44, had an outstanding game. He was getting pressure. He was really doing his thing. And credit to him. They were doing as far as stopping the run, they held their own. They did decent. But their pass defense is horrible. It's horrible. I'm sorry. It's horrible. I gotta speak truth. It is horrible. They blow coverages all the time. Eyes are in the wrong place. People not whatever techniques. I don't know what technique they're running. I'm not in their defensive means, but even in college football, guys should not be running wide open like that. And guys continue to run wide open. Coach Prime is saying that they're addressing it during the week, but for some reason it's not translating from what's going on in practice to what's going on in the game. And that's something too I'm gonna get to a little bit later, and that goes to the players. That's something else that we definitely gonna have to talk about. The OC, I understand. He wants to run his scheme, but the scheme is not working. He's getting Shador killed. They not running the ball. They cannot run the ball. I don't know why they not trying to run the ball. There are different ways you can try to run the ball, take a little bit of pressure. I've been saying this since the Nebraska game. You have to run the ball. You cannot be one-dimensional. and they continue to be one-dimensional. You cannot be one-dimensional. That's something that they just they just cannot do. So they gotta keep working. They gotta keep trying to get better at it. Whatever they need to do, they have to do, because if they don't try to change their schemes as far as trying to run the ball, they're gonna have issues, and it is bad. It really is. Halftime, Coach Prime even said, "Hey, we got to make adjustments, but adjustments are not being made. It's really not. So something's gonna have to give." I said this last week, 2 weeks ago. Coach Prime got a lot of hard decisions ahead of him this week. After this season, he got a lot of hard decisions to make. He got to make some decisions. He got some decisions to make about his coaching staff. Whoever's in charge of that pass game, pass defense, would be in serious trouble in any other coaching staff. Now, the secondary coach is Coach Mathis. He's been with Coach Prime since they were running Pee Wee League teams, and now they move all the way up. I don't know if he's up for the job. I don't know. I'm not going to sit here and say he's not, but whatever they are teaching is not working as far as assignments, as far as people keep blowing coverages. I've never played DB, so I can only speak on what's on television, but seeing what I'm seeing, you can't keep blowing coverages like that. I'm sorry. You just can't. It's not acceptable. You can't keep doing it. They're having problems with basic things. Come out in the second half, Chip Kelly's adjustment, we're gonna attack the slot. And that's what they did. They went right, they whoever was the slot corner, they attacked him up and down the field. Up and down the field. Up and down the field. And it's bad. He got a lot of hard decisions. Like I said, the DB coach, something might have to happen there. The offensive line coach, he doesn't really have the horses, so I don't know whether or not he can coach. But some way, somehow, they should be able to adjust the scheme in some facet. You got to try to cut the gaps down, cut the splits, try to max protect on certain pass plays, leave running backs in. He continually wants to go to 5 wide receivers, 4 wide receivers, 4 receivers, 1 back. He continually wants to go to. He doesn't have the horses. In my opinion, he should be thinking protection first. But he wants to put everybody out into the patterns, and they can't protect it. Every time they go 5 wides, they blitz the protection. Every team. UCLA did it on Saturday. Everybody anytime they go to 5 wide, they blitzing. They just blitzing and protecting. They bringing more people they can handle. So something. Coach Prime got some live decisions he got to make, and not only does he have to make a decision on coaches, he got to make some decision on players too. See, a lot of times we as fans, we see him making all these transfers in, transfers down. But one thing fans don't try to think and ask themselves, why is that kid in the portal? Because that kid can play. Maybe sometimes he just can't get along with the coach. That's true. Sometimes he just doesn't. He can't stay there. He's far away from home. He's homesick. I do understand that. But sometimes it's because the kid is not good enough to break into the first and second string. Or sometimes the kid got issues. He can't learn the scheme. He can't learn the defense. It's something. So one of the better things I think, Coach, hopefully they're doing it. Hopefully Coach Prime and them, they have more intel. The kids that they bring in, why are they leaving? Is it because he's homesick, he wants to be closer for home, or he wants to play for Coach Prime, Or is it because he can't get along with the coach? Or is it because he can't learn the scheme? Or he's not good enough? Man, when I was playing, there were dudes had all the athletic ability in the world but can't learn the scheme. They will blow coverages all the time. They will blow their responsibilities. So they gotta do a real inside look as to who they bringing in. Maybe they can't pick up the schemes they trying to give them. It's something, but it was a tough watch, man. And before I go, I want to credit Chip Kelly. I want to give Chip Kelly something. Chip Kelly could have did something that Dan Lanning did, which was run up the score. Dan Lanning ran up the score on Colorado. Chip Kelly could have did the same thing, but he didn't. It was a situation, I believe, early in the fourth quarter or late third quarter. After halftime, after they came out, they jumped out to the lead, and it was 28-6. Chip Kelly called off the dogs. Initially during the game, they were attacking their protection. They were just hitting Shador. They was coming after him. But midway through the third quarter, they stopped doing it. They just started rushing with three people and playing zone behind it. And they were still getting pressure. Just with three people. They were still getting pressure. Chip Kelly called off the dogs. It was 10 minutes left in the fourth quarter, and Chip Kelly, 28-6. Chip Kelly started running the ball up the middle. He knew the game was over. He knew they ain't had no threat to come back on him. No need to run up the score. I respect Chip Kelly for that. I respect him. He didn't do what Dan Lanning did to Coach Prime. Dan Lanning went out his way to run up the score on Coach Prime. He could have did it even more, but he didn't. But he did run up the score. Chip Kelly didn't. I respect him for that. So Colorado, they got a tough one. I believe they got Oregon State this week. We'll be talking about that later on in the week. That's gonna be a tough one. I believe that's gonna be tough right there. That's gonna be tough. They just don't have the horses on the offensive line to even attempt to block Oregon State. They don't have it. So we're gonna move on to the next game. We'll talk about that later on in the week, though. The next game that I thought was a very interesting game was the USC Cal game. If you've been watching Hit the Sled, I've been talking about USC defense for the past 4 weeks, ever since they played Colorado, and it showed up again. If Caleb Williams doesn't play well, UCLA, if they don't play great, if Caleb Williams don't play great, USC is not going to win. That score was 50-49 to Cal. Caleb went 24 for 40, 369 yards, 2 touchdowns. He played good. It wasn't extraordinary, but he made a lot of plays. Again, that defense was piss poor, man. They were terrible. Lincoln Riley, man, he's gonna have to. If he doesn't move on from his defensive coordinator, which appears to be his friend, he's gonna be in trouble. Because them people down there, USC ain't gonna tolerate that defense being that poor again. They were terrible. He has to make the tough decision to fire his defensive coordinator. Lincoln Riley has to fire his defensive coordinator. This is why he's hired. This is why he got the job, to make the tough decisions. He got to make tough decisions. If he don't make tough decisions, that's going to get him fired. Lincoln Riley, man, he wasted a year, Caleb Williams. Wasted a year. I'm sorry. He wasted a year. He wasted a year, Caleb. If they had any type of defense, they'd probably be in the hunt for a national championship. Any type of defense. Any type of defense. We're going to the next game. Big win for Kansas over Oklahoma. Kansas beat Oklahoma. Oklahoma was ranked. Oklahoma was in the I believe they was number 5 in the country. Big win for Kansas. This is a big program win for Kansas. Kansas coach Lance Leipold, he's doing a great job. He really is doing a great job, man. I don't know how long he's going to be there at Kansas. Somebody's going to come get that man, but he's doing a great job for Kansas football. Kansas football ain't been this relevant since Mangino. The coach did a tremendous job. All those years ago, I believe about 15 years ago, when they made it all the way to the Orange Bowl, he did a great job. Coach Lance Leipold, he's doing a great job for Kansas. Great job, man. You credit to him. Credit to him. I don't know how long he's gonna be there, but he's doing a tremendous job. The next game right here is the Oregon-Utah game. Hey, man, Oregon just steamrolled them people. It was total domination. That game wasn't even close. Bo Nix threw for 248 yards, 2 touchdowns. They ain't even, man, them people, they rolled right through Utah, man. They rolled right through Utah, man. Credit Oregon. Oregon doing a great job. Next game is the Washington-Stanford game. Washington won that game, but it was a close game. It was a close game. Since Washington, since they beat Oregon, man, everything's been really close. Everything was really close, and it's one of those things where Washington sleepwalking last 2 weeks. They struggled. They beat Arizona State. Close game. Had to take a pick six late in the fourth quarter with Arizona State driving. Got a pick six, blew the game open. They managed to get that win. Stanford had a chance to do real damage. The guy dropped the ball. Washington sleepwalking since that Oregon win. They've been sleepwalking the last 2 weeks. They've been sleepwalking. They got to get on. They got to get back on it again. So it was an interesting weekend of college football. Next week, my Wolverines are coming off their bye week. They got Purdue. We're gonna be talking about that later on in the week. The only thing I would talk about was that last night a report came out saying that the contract extension that's been being worked on by the Wolverines with Jim, that offer was rescinded. They pulled the offer. Michigan pulled the offer from Jim, but it doesn't look like that's actually the case. It looks like that was a false report. Jim said that that's not the case. The inside sources that I listen to, that I read on the Michigan perspective, are saying also John U. Bacon, he's one of the people I follow on Twitter. He does a tremendous job. He kind of has the insight as to what goes on in Michigan land. He said that's not the case. And not only that, apparently they were really, really close to a contract extension, but this nonsense, this sign stealing stuff popped up. So now they're working through some stuff, man, but it's looking like they're trying to get there with Jim. Hopefully they can get him signed so that we can get, it's not, from what I'm reading, it's not the money as far as his yearly salary. Jim is fighting for his coach's pool money. He's fighting for NIL. He's fighting for recruiting money, and also he's fighting for more access to a jet. Those are all stuff that negotiating. The money, his yearly salary is not really an issue, but it's those specific things. And also the regents at the school want more as far as whoever Jim hires. More background investigation as to who Jim hires. So that's taking some of the control away from him. So that's stuff that they got to iron out before they go to the next level. So this thing is unfolding as we go. I watched Jim's press conference today. He seems like a man that knows he's been battered. He's been accused of cheating. And it's something that, unfortunately, he can't really speak too much about it, so he has to take it. I said this last week on the prior episode, on the last episode, Hit the Sled, my college football preview. When you are a leader, part of your responsibility is picking the right people to be in your job, to be being your team that work with you. Before Steve Jobs died, Steve Jobs, the former founder of Apple, when he came in the second go around, after the first time when he created Apple, they had to let him go because of his attitude. He came back, and one of the greatest things he said when they asked him what was his greatest, he created a lot of things that changed people's lives. He didn't say none of the things he created, none of the iPhones, the iPads, the iPods. That wasn't it. That wasn't his greatest invention. He said the team that he put together, the team that he was able to create, was the reason why that was his greatest accomplishment. Not the products he created, but the team he created that helped him create those products was his greatest accomplishment. As a leader, you have to be able to pick the right people. And as Hit the Sled progress, me, myself, there are people that I'm going to have to bring that are going to be working with me down the line that I got to pick. And I pray that I'm able to pick the right people that work with me. Because whenever you have success in life, you have to have the right people with you. Can't just do it by yourself. Anyone that accomplishes anything great in their life doesn't do it by themselves. Do it with people. From Jeff Bezos, Amazon, he had people with him. Steve Jobs at Apple, he had people with him. Bill Gates at Microsoft, he had people with him. Jamie Dimon right now that runs JP Morgan Chase, he got great people with him. TV shows that you see, they got great writers. It's not just the stars. You have to have people around you. So the point I'm trying to make is you got to have people around you to be successful. You have to be able to choose the right people. And unfortunately, Jim has made poor choices in the last couple of years. He's made a lot of great hires, but he's made a lot of poor choices as well. So for my squad, I'm hoping that he learns from his lesson and he can get it going again. I truly appreciate y'all for staying with me. Hit the sled, man. What a weekend of college football. As we continue to move forward, as through this season, we coming down the pipe. We got the college football playoff. This is the first week of the college football playoff picks for the top four. This is the first weekend of it. We'll be talking about that on Thursday or Friday when the next episode comes out. The season is already week 9. We're going on week 10 around here. It's winding down. It's already going to November. I just remember when the season started in September when Hit the Sled got started. So I truly appreciate y'all staying with me. Hit the sled. Stay with me. We got a lot of things coming down the line. I truly appreciate y'all. Go to my YouTube channel. Subscribe. Not only subscribe, but hit the videos. Hit the likes on the videos. Man, I truly appreciate all the support I get. Not only do you go to my YouTube channel, but you can go to my Instagram page. You can go to my Twitter page, X page. You can go to my Facebook page. I truly appreciate y'all. We got a lot more things we working with, a lot more things I'm trying to get going on. I truly appreciate y'all. Hit the sled. Appreciate y'all.